Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of November 23rd, 2014. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This week, Mercury will be doing what the Sun was doing last week and the week before, and Venus was doing the week before last. And that is speaking with Jupiter and then meeting Saturn in the sky. So Mercury and Venus are never far from the Sun, never more than 2 signs away from the Sun. And right now they're traveling particularly close together, which is not that unusual. And so it's not that unusual for when one planet does something in terms of having a conversation with another power player in the sky, for the other two to also have a similar conversation in their own given time, but relatively in a small span of time. So this is part of a larger lesson that we're all going through. One has to do with over-optimism, overconfidence, thinking big, which is what Mercury squaring or speaking in tension with Jupiter says. Think big. Don't worry about the reality right now. Don't worry about where it might lead, but think big and think positive as well. This conversation says that it is by being mindful of your own thoughts and looking at where it is maybe that you're not utilizing them effectively, that you're able to really understand something about yourself and able to channel your energy more effectively. It's about what you need to understand about the way thoughts are going through your mind, and also an element here of what you need to understand as to how it is that your communication may be interpreted and how others may be interpreting your communications as well. So how are you reading other people and how are other people reading you? This is also part of the larger lesson when Mercury has this type of conversation with Jupiter. But Mercury will also be meeting Saturn in the sky. Now, this is very significant. I think that this has to do with reality check thinking and getting clear as to what your actual responsibilities are. If you are playing your cards right, this can be a good time to sign a contract that is really stable, but it's really important to check the fine print with this type of sky, because it does look like, I almost see this with Mercury's very much about negotiation to a certain extent as well. It has to do with agreements as well. And so when I see a sky like this, it does suggest to me, on the one hand, it's almost as if you're in a negotiation or wanting to reach an agreement where you start off asking really big and then you realize, okay, wait, the reality of the situation is that this is what I actually can get or am entitled to get. And that could be in any area of life. Of course, it depends on where this particular configuration takes place in your unique birth chart or based on your sun sign or your moon sign as well. So in some area of life, all of us are going to be asking big, thinking big, and then having to look at the reality of the situation. Now, depending on how much of a divergence there is between the two will depend on how serious the understanding as to the reality will end up being. But for all that, ultimately, I'm very much of the belief that reality is always something that's healing, something that's amazing, something that's awesome, always leads to better things, even if it's a reality that you wish wasn't so, because the reality has a beauty that no fantasy can match. And that is also one of the larger lessons taking place this week with a conversation between the Sun and Neptune. So last week, we had Venus speaking with Neptune that had to do with looking at how you were spending your money, exerting your energies where it came to money, where money was flowing out in ways that maybe weren't healthy or weren't very conscious, but also with love. So looking at our disappointments in love as well was one of the energies. It was reality check where it came to love and money. So this week we have got the Sun speaking with Neptune, which also provides reality checks of sorts. It's acknowledgement of any disappointments. But with the Sun is very much an energy about you. It's about how are you acting. It's about how are you exerting your will. How are you standing in your truth. Standing in the truth of who you know yourself to be and living from that place, acting from that place of self-knowledge and of centeredness. Where it is that you haven't been doing that, all of us in some way are going to be looking at where it is in at least one area of life where maybe we haven't been doing quite that. And this is about being honest with ourselves and acknowledging where we're disappointed, not necessarily in any external circumstance, but more in our own sense of what we knew better to do. To me, this is so valuable. It is so valuable because it really is insight that lends to self-knowledge, yes, but change that matters, change that lasts. When you recognize that the way that you've been doing things hasn't been effective, has been wasting your energy, probably, has been in some way depleting you or depleting something that you understand at your center is valuable to you, whether it's your energy or your talent or otherwise. When you understand that that's what's happening, you can no longer continue to walk that path. The act of awareness is an act of transformation in itself. Now, we've got Mercury with Saturn, which is great for awareness. And so that tells me we won't get too lost in a feeling of disappointment or maybe not seeing things as clearly. This is a time to ask questions, yes, because there is a general confusion with this energy. But Mercury meeting Saturn means that the confusion is not likely to last. And the clarity, it's not just necessarily about clarity, but it is about truth and looking at actions, looking at what's actually being demonstrated and being honest with yourself from that place. Also this week, something I've been really looking forward to is Venus speaking in supreme harmony with Uranus. I've been so excited about this, truly very excited about this. Spoke about this in a lot of the monthly horoscopes for this sign, or at least some of the monthly horoscopes for this month, rather, for the month of November. And this particular conversation speaks to surprises in love that delight, whether it's you wanting to implement a surprise that goes off amazingly well, or whether it is someone else making a declaration or otherwise that goes off incredibly well also. If you are one of those people open to love, this is a time when you could meet somebody. Again, depending on how this configuration is speaking in your chart, there is going to be an element here this week where some of us might feel that we've sort of had love at first sight moments. If we're in established relationships, this is about being surprised or surprising somebody and feeling the love, feeling the connection, feeling the passion very strongly with this configuration as well. And what I really like about this is that it's light, it's easy, it's fun energy, it's passionate energy. It's energy that makes you feel like you are alive. There's adrenaline involved in this type of energy as well. You don't normally associate Uranus or Venus with adrenaline, but I do think with such easy energy and considering both of these planets are in fire signs, there's an aliveness to this that should delight a lot of people. So if you're planning any kind of romantic surprises, this is the week to do it. But keep in mind, and I got to say this, yes, romantic stuff should go off amazingly well and delight, but Mercury is conjunct to Saturn. So that's about agreements, okay? And that's about thinking long-term as well. And so if you are one of those people who decides, well, Mercury's not in shadow anymore, and yeah, I think I really want to propose to this person or take this relationship to the next level, don't take it anyway if that person says, let me think about it. Because that's actually really good. That's the person taking the offer or what is presented to them seriously. So if there is a need for one person or the other to say, okay, let me take a step back, let me figure out what it is that I want to do, welcome that, because that means that this is an offer that is being contemplated seriously, and whatever negotiations in love or otherwise might arise, ultimately a fair agreement will be reached, an agreement that's well earned as well. And what that means is if you've only known this person for 3 weeks and they propose, you might love it, okay? Or it might come off really great, but the fact that the person says, hey, let's wait 6 months is actually really, really good. So that means that the person is thinking long-term and thinking, yes, something could be here, but let's see. But if you've been with that person already for 10 years and you propose, then it'll have a different kind of outcome, a different kind of flow, a flow that you like very much. For those of you looking to propose this week. Now, this week also we have Chiron going forward at the beginning of the week. This is awesome. This is so huge. Chiron is considered the wounded healer, often called the wounded healer. And this is about the inner healer in you. Yes. This is about looking at where you feel hurt and have held on to hurt that maybe you thought would never heal, acknowledging it and moving forward. Chiron, the most wounded part in us, is moving forward with life. This is so good. This is really, really good. And so the fact that this is happening suggests to me that we're more open to making progress. We're open to leaving the hurts of the past behind. We're open to understanding, again, what we did, our own part, as part of carrying that resentment, what was really going on with us. And most of the time, if not pretty much all of the time, we really have no business carrying that resentment. And what I mean by that is people do all kinds of things that have nothing to do with us, nothing to do with you as an individual, and yet we take it personally. Yet we think it has something to do with us, and we take it on, usually because it speaks to, I have to say, it speaks to some insecurity or some wound within us, which is why we carry it, which is why we hold the resentment, because we in some way believe it on a very deep level. Of course, this is sort of one of these games that our psyche plays as part of protecting us. On the one hand, yes, but there is something truly special that happens when you're able to acknowledge that you've been carrying something that was not your business to carry, that didn't have anything to do with you, that you were judging this other person, and you thought that they were maybe judging you or whatever the wound is that's being touched on. And this is your chance to say, you know what, I'm going to move forward now. I'm going to let that go. Whether that letting go involves forgiveness or seeing it from a different perspective, forgiving yourself, or just deciding that it's not worth your energy anymore. This is a chance for all of us in some way to look at where it is we've been nursing a hurt and to let that go, which I do think is a great, great source of freedom. Towards the end of the week, Mercury will move into the sign of Sagittarius. This is a really awesome placement. Talk about freedom, because Mercury moving into the sign of Sagittarius gives us the freedom to explore higher truths, explore the world, and to talk it out without taking it personally also. So it's about examining, yes, what's true in a philosophical sense, in a spiritual sense as well, in a sense of what resonates as true for you, but being able to do so very spontaneously and interacting with all kinds of people and understanding all different types of people as well. I do think that this is a great vibration. You know, the sign of Sagittarius and the sign of Pisces are ruled by the planet Jupiter. Now, Pisces energy is about really like merging with the collective. It's about communion. It's about feeling your connection to everyone and everything. And the way that I understand Sagittarius energy is that it is also about that connection to everyone and everything, but it is more of a pursuit. It's more of a journey, whether it's an intellectual pursuit, which is what Mercury moving into Sagittarius certainly suggests, or it's a pursuit of understanding the types of truths that are relative and what resonates as true for you as part of your place within the larger family of the universe, actually, or the world, actually. This is what Sagittarian energy blesses us with. So all of us in some way will be going on that journey in our own way, in our own area of life, of understanding our connection to everyone and everything by understanding what is true for us, considering, exploring what may be true for us, and from there, being led to the place of acknowledging that actually there's a certain, there's a certain type of scientific truth, and then there's a certain type of truth that truly is very relative. That's what the sign of Sagittarius suggests, and all of us will come to our own appreciation of that as a result of the conversations that we have. Well, that is the celestial events taking place this week. Thank you so much for being here. I'm truly so grateful for you right now being here in this moment. I do hope that this video in some way provides you with the omen that you need to fill your life with hope, with faith, with inspiration as well. and that your horoscope, the introduction and the horoscope this week in some way for you affirms that the universe is wise and loving, which really is the reason that I do everything that I do. All of my work is about affirming that in the universe, which I believe is personally my mission as well. So I am truly so grateful for you being here. Please keep your questions coming, working on lots of great things to be launched in the coming weeks, but please do keep your questions coming, your astrology questions, your technical questions. I love interacting with you guys online, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, my website, nadiyashah.com as well, and a few other places I'm connected online as well. If you would like me to look at your unique birth chart, if you have more personal questions about your situation, please do have a look at personalized horoscopes where I can do just that. But again, I truly hope that this moment provides you with the omen that you need to fill your life with inspiration, love, and wisdom. So how all this wonderful celestial activity this week speaks to you and your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week we have Venus speaking with Uranus in your sign, making you one of the lucky recipients of delightful surprises in love and otherwise. So this is a chance for you to connect with somebody very different than what you've known before. If you are single and open to that, if you're in an established bond, this is a chance for you to be surprised in a very lovely way or to surprise another person as well. Now, there's an element here that has to do with stepping out into the world. And so, as I said, it will either be somebody very different than you or to share an experience that is different than you've known before, exposing yourself to different cultures or ideas as well. That in particular should go off very nicely. Now, for some of you out there, if you are engaged in a process of higher learning or you want to be engaged in a process of higher learning, this is a time when you could get some very good news. If you're taking an exam, of course, you got to be well prepared. With Mercury meeting Saturn, you're not going to get away with anything that you're not absolutely prepared for. But for all that, it looks like there's wonderful support available to you. This could also be a time when you attract a mentor who really helps you to understand the higher purpose of your life. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week, your ruling planet, Venus, will connect with, or rather will speak with, Uranus in the sky, which does suggest that you, in some significant way, are seeing things from a whole other perspective, and that perspective seriously lightens your load. It's like I'm just seeing you put a lot of baggage down that wasn't yours to pick up in the first place. So we've got your ruling planet in a part of the sky that has to do with psychological regeneration, with the life, death, rebirth cycle, feeling reborn in some key way could take place for you now. But there's also a financial connotation to this also. So given these placements, you hearing of some good news financially, a check showing up for you, a loan coming through, a grant coming through, these types of scenarios, being approved for benefits that you've wanted for a while, that you've been applying for, these types of scenarios become very blessed for you now. And so it does look like, I got to say, it looks like chances are the process of getting to this point was already done. So chances are you've already put things into motion. There may be a need to actually connect with somebody. That call might come. You'll know it. It's going to come to you that says, okay, can you back this up? Can you fill out this form or otherwise? But you do that, you will find yourself led in a direction of certainly ending the week richer than you began it. For a lot of you, that will play out in monetary terms. For some of you, that may also play out in emotional terms as well, where you realize where there was a block to you experiencing emotional abundance and you put it down, allowing you to experience more of the richness of life. Hello, fabulous Gemini. This week we have got your ruling planet speaking with Jupiter, meeting Saturn in the sky. While the early part of the week might feel like it is very lifted and there's lots of ambition and there's lots of hope, which is awesome, there is a very important reality check for you in particular waiting once we get you just a little bit further. For some of you, this is going to play out. I will be honest. For some of you, this is going to play out in the realm of your health. Okay, so that's a possibility. where you'll look at what you've been doing and how it's been affecting you. And I see a lot of you out there actually saying to yourselves, okay, it's not just that I want to get serious, but okay, you know what? I'm ready to change. This is the reality of what's been going on and what I've been doing, and I'm ready to do things differently. I'm ready for things to go in a different direction, and actually understanding what that's going to entail, committing to a plan to make your life better. And for some of you out there, this is actually going to play out on mental levels. So it is you recognizing that you've been thinking in certain ways that are getting in the way of you feeling good about yourself, about your vitality, about your energy, and how that needs to change if you're going to experience better states of being. For others of you, I do think that this is going to be a time for a few of you out there. I'm going to be honest. You might end up having a conversation with a supervisor or even a coworker that sort of sets the record straight, if you will. So if you're one of those people who's been sort of wanting to seek advancement, wanting to go for something bigger, that's awesome. I do think, and I often say ambition is sacred because I think it represents our desire to tap into our free will and to move our lives in a direction of our choosing. So in that respect, yes, I do believe that ambition can be sacred when seen correctly, when we have the right relationship with ambition, of course. This particular energy is more about you sort of saying, yeah, I want that, or I think I want that, or that would be really cool, and then getting a reality check and saying, oh, okay, that's what it entails. Oh, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I've actually demonstrated. So when your ruling planet meets Saturn, it's not that you're going to get a boon. You're going to get what's well earned. So if you've been putting in the time, this can be a time of rewards that do surprise you and delight you, actually. And especially in love, I do see lots of lovely surprises for you there, which I spoke about in the love-focused horoscope for this month. But for all that, it does look like if you can strive to be honest with yourself and receive the message, the universe is going to be very clear with you as to where your actions have gotten you to this point and where it is now that you are meant to go to experience a stronger, more stable future. Hello, fabulous Cancer. This week, we have got some really important energy playing out for you where it comes to romance, where it comes to the feelings of love as well. And I did speak about this in the monthly horoscopes for you also. But I do think that this month does represent kind of a serious talk, if you will, and a decision as to the future direction of where you are and where it is that you desire to go in the realm of this bond. So we've got Mercury and Saturn meeting in a part of the sky for you that has to do with romance and love and dating. So if you're in an established bond, this is you taking an honest examination of where you are and how far that is from maybe where you were and why. Looking at the reality of where you are now in terms of feeling connected to the person you love. If you're single, this is about you getting a real reality check in yourself about the barriers within you that are getting in the way of love. For some of you, this may play out in the realm of, I see this actually playing out in the realm of a creative project where you get an honest understanding of the viability of a creative project. Do you really want to go forward with it or not? If you've put in the time and it's well earned, this can be a time of rewards. But if it is that you've been a little bit not just over-optimistic, because I don't think over-optimism is really necessarily a bad thing. But if you have been in a place where you haven't been honest with yourself, that you haven't been putting in the work, this week should set things straight so that you're able to see what it is that you have done, what it is that has been earned, and you get clear as to the direction you're going. And if you don't like it, of course, you have the power to make some very powerful changes this week as well. Hello, fabulous Leo. This week, your ruling luminary, your ruling planet, the sun, will be speaking with Neptune in not necessarily the easiest conversation. And so This particular conversation to me does say that there is going to be a need for you to look at your own disappointments, yes, especially in terms of the projects that matter to you most, in terms of the things you've been working on, the creative projects, your sense of fulfillment with your life. For a few of you out there, I will be honest, this can play out in the realm of romance, okay? So where it is that you feel that you're lacking a sense of emotional connection, this is a time for you to acknowledge the disappointments and what needs to change so that you can move towards something more substantial and that feeling of connection. If you are open to love, I gotta say, on the one hand, yes, this is a chance for you to look at within yourself, barriers within yourself. The universe always gives us those opportunities. However, when I look at this particular energy, it does speak to maybe getting a little bit carried away or maybe not seeing a situation very clearly. It can also speak to the reality kind of staring you in the face and not necessarily wanting to see it as well. I'm always going to be honest with you, always. When I see this configuration playing out, there's an element here of secrets that you consciously keep. So this is about secrets kept consciously. And it may very well be you that is keeping that secret, especially because you're conscious of it. Or on the other hand, it may be that you know that someone that you're dating or you're interested in is sort of in another direction or in another way, and you haven't been able to really fully acknowledge that before. This is a chance for you to ask yourself, are you ready to acknowledge that or not? With Mercury meeting Saturn in the sky, a lot of the energy right now over the last 2 weeks and now is about truth, and it's about relativity, and it's about really understanding what you need to understand to feel more grounded and to feel more solid, and to understand also where maybe the things that other people do are not necessarily about you, as I spoke about in the introduction. So that's going to be a big lesson for you now as well. Understanding that people are going to do all kinds of things that don't necessarily have anything to do with you, and therefore you have no business taking it personally. You have no business being hurt by it. It's part of your sacred learning this week as well. So strive to be as honest as possible, as ethical as possible, because if it's you who's keeping the secret, this configuration does suggest that there may be more exposure than you necessarily would like. So this is a time for you to be aware of what is happening within you and to be aware of your own motivations, and that in turn will lead you to make choices that you feel comfortable with. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week we have your ruling planet speaking with Jupiter and meeting Saturn in the sky. When I look at this configuration for you, especially considering that Mercury is moving through a part of the sky that has to do with, as I spoke about in the introduction as well, has to do with communication. It has to do with conversation. It has to do with agreements as well, and to a certain extent, negotiation as well. So this is very much about a reality check for you as to how it is that your message is being received and how it is that you're receiving messages as well. So it does look like, when I look at this week for you, it starts off super optimistic, super hopeful, and then you will get to take a very honest stock of where you are. This can be a time when a conversation sets the record straight, make things very clear, makes things very honest as well. And so there's an element here of a conversation really helping to ground you and helping to set things on a path that will eventually move you towards greater stability. But I gotta say as well, look, we're just coming off of a new moon. Okay, so late last week we had a new moon that had to do with the part of the sky for you that has to do with your foundations, sort of the ground on which you stand. And now we're having this conversation take place with your ruling planet that is also, to a certain extent, has to do with really looking at the bones of your life, the bones of your thoughts, and considering what is at the essence, what is at its core, and what is superfluous and what needs to go. So this time can mark an ending that ultimately frees you to begin again in at least one key way. And so whether that is an ending of a hope or something that you'd planned and you realize, okay, wait, I was, going way off in another direction. I wanted to be a ballerina, but really I meant to be a basketball player. Like that type of sort of clarity might be there. And really it might be that dramatic. Of course, I'm being a little bit exaggerating a little bit and being a little metaphorical there. But really, wherever it is that maybe you are allowing yourself to get a little carried away, this is your chance to return to center, return to what really matters, and understand what it is ultimately that is fantasy and separating that from reality, even if it's disappointing. And ultimately the reality will, and truth does, set you free. And I do think you're going to be feeling that sense of freedom very prominently as we move forward, and especially before the week ends as well. With this wonderful conversation between Venus and Uranus, you especially will be feeling this sense of freedom, happiness, and forward moving progress as well. Especially thanks to Chiron, where it comes to love, you'll certainly feel like things are moving forward in the best possible sense. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week, your ruling planet, Venus, will be speaking with Uranus. Uranus in your opposite sign right now. Venus in a harmonious placement to you. I look at this, and this to me has flirting, like conversation, flirty talk, flirty conversation all over it. You are going to want to be a little mindful of that also. One thing I do want to say as I look at the sky, I'm going to just put this out there because I think it's a possibility as well. Be mindful of the types of communications you're having in the workplace, okay? So I'm saying this because I'm looking at the conversations taking place with Mercury moving through a part of the sky for you that has to do with your finances, with the Sun and Neptune and those particular placements, Neptune in a part of the sky for you that has to do with your work environment. I mean, I look at this and I just think that you may have a message of yours read or misinterpreted. And so just make sure if you check your personal emails and Facebook at work, make sure you are logging out. Like, be meticulous this week. I just am going to say that as a precautionary thing. Be meticulous, especially if you're having conversations that in any way could be considered flirty. Okay. Even if it's very innocent from your end, just watch the messages that you're sending and be mindful that what you're receiving as well may or may not have the connotation you think. So just hold off a little bit on that. The other thing with this is also I look at the conversations taking place in the sky now, and I think about how sometimes we may send messages to coworkers or to other people in the company, and it just seems like maybe the message isn't understood properly. It's thought to be one thing. It's thought that you're being a troublemaker or something, but that's really not your intention at all. It might be that someone thinks you're flirting, and that's not your intention at all. So just be mindful of that. Check your words. And if there's even a little bit of a question, even a little bit of a connotation of something that you don't want, save that for another time when the sky is more supportive of you, enjoying yourself with the flirtation. Save that for another time. This week, be meticulous, be very much to the book, especially where it comes to matters of finances and in the work sphere. So where it is you go to make your money and where it is that you go day in and day out in terms of the work environment as well, these are the areas to watch most closely. But in your own life, if you're just, sending text messages, if you're on one of those apps, go at it. You should have a lot of fun. And it does look like if you're open to meeting somebody new, you could make a really lovely connection now that starts online. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. This week we have got Mercury meeting Saturn in your sign. Now, to me, this is such an important moment for you. When I think about the fact that since September, we have had this ongoing lesson for you. Actually, more accurately, yes, at the very end of September, we had Mercury move into your sign, enter in shadow, retrograde out of your sign, then re-enter your sign, And now we are at the very end of Mercury. Mercury will leave your sign by the end of this week. But before Mercury does that, we'll meet Saturn in your sign. To me, this is such an important moment. It is a culmination moment in your understanding of some of the larger lessons that you've been engaged in since the month of September, especially since the second half of September. And so while, especially when I think about a month ago, exactly a month ago, we had a new moon in your sign. And as I spoke about in the monthly horoscope for October in particular, and I said, if you haven't seen that, you may want to watch that again or watch it for the first time, because it is going to be, it's almost as if the ideas, the inspirations, the things you wanted to begin at that particular eclipse, solar eclipse that were happening for you, now will become fully actualized, fully realized, or let go. And so this is going to be your chance to say, okay, this is the stuff I wanted to plant seeds, or I did plant seeds. This is the things I've been wanting to implement. Is it viable? Is it practical? Does it work? Is it true to me or not? Does this align me with a higher happiness or not? Or does this move me away from that? Am I pursuing this for reasons that ultimately do not have to do with my happiness, but come from a different place within me, come from my fear, or come from my own insecurities, which ultimately is fear as well? This is your chance to say, okay, I'm honest with myself. Yes, we're going forward, or no, we are not. And this is going to be in matters very close to the heart, very near and dear, very close to the heart as well. So with this configuration playing out, and in particular, the fact that while this configuration is happening, we've got this conversation between the Sun and Neptune, which for you is speaking towards your understanding of what you really need to feel fulfilled. This to me furthers the point that you are right now making some really important decisions and really important transitions as well. As I said, by the time we get to the end of the week, Mercury will leave your sign, and the lessons really that have been ongoing will be integrated. This is your chance to get really honest with yourself, especially as to what you really want and what you really want to put into place. So with that honesty will come a clear direction and a clear decision, which puts you on a very purposeful path. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. This week we have got Venus in your sign speaking in supreme harmony with Uranus. I absolutely love this for you. I love this for you because to me this speaks to an understanding that you are ultimately, no matter what is happening in your external circumstance, no matter what might not necessarily always feel right or may necessarily feel off, life can still be a joy. Life can still be fun. And life can promise you moments of renewal that seem to come out of nowhere and fill you with life and love and optimism and hope and beauty and all those lovely things. Fill you with pleasure, fill you with joy as well. So this configuration to me is so important. And I actually spoke about this in the monthly love-focused horoscope for your sign for the month of November. So you may want to watch that again. Because that to me, this configuration to me says that even though there's stuff happening in the sky that other signs might find a little challenging, I do think that for you, even with that energy sort of in the ether, it's not necessarily something you're going to be giving into that much, but rather you're going to be setting your priorities straight. Something within you lets go of a burden and lets go of baggage. Something within you reclaims your right to enjoy your life and to feel good about yourself. This is really a great time for you. I got to say, now budget aside, again, considering the way that Mercury is speaking with Jupiter and Saturn, there may be some budgeting stuff that you have to think about, like sort of like limitations, like there may be something really big you want to do, but then you realize, well, wait a minute, I'm actually working within this sphere and I could get to that other sphere, but I got to just pace myself a little bit. Regardless of that, it does look like a great week for a makeover. So if you want, logistics aside, I mean, there are a million ways to do what you want. You know, friends and fans who've been with me for a while, know that I've been just about every hair color, and you can spend a lot of money, spend hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars doing that. And you could spend $5.99. You could spend very little money doing that. If you want to change your hair, there's a whole spectrum of ways that you can do that, and I have tried just about all of them, as regular friends and fans know. But I share this with you because try not to get into that energy of limits or limitations. It's great. You're starting the week with a lot of over-optimism. There may be a little bit of a reality check that makes you go, okay, this is what I'm actually working with. But what you're actually working with is more than enough, is more than sufficient. So if you can nurture that, if you can be in that place, you're going to find yourself really heading in directions that you like very much, really going in a direction where you are saying to yourself that you want to appreciate your own beauty and you want to enjoy your life more, and you're making changes from that place. And as a result, you are coming off as more beautiful as well. So a great time to go shopping for clothes, choosing amazing outfits, changing up your look, whatever you need to get a sense of some fresh energy in and to get a sense of your own beauty is going to go very well for you, and it's going to give you something that is beyond superficial. It will give you something that is a deeper understanding that life is at its best and also at its core something where you should really value and nurture your own right to be happy. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. This week we have your ruling planet meeting Mercury in the sky. So it's really been these last couple of weeks, big lessons for you, big clarity for you on a level of heart, on a level of drive, and now on a level of mind as well. So you've been going through a really important phase these last few weeks, as we've had Venus first. The week before last, Venus met Saturn in your sun, Saturn, which is your ruling planet. Now, last week, we had the Sun meeting Saturn as well. This week, Mercury meeting Saturn. So important lessons taking place for you, especially in the realm of friendships, in the realm of understanding your higher wishes for your life as well. A really important week for you, where I do think a lot of the feelings, the understandings, the lessons that have been sort of, for some of you out there, sort of under the surface, kind of percolating a little bit. The intuitions you've been having where it comes to your friendships as well, kind of percolating a little bit. This is a week where it starts to feel like things are coming together on a level of mind and on a level of clarity as well. And so be open to that prospect, because it does look like you are going to really be integrating something very important, where you understand where it is that the universe has been asking you to step up your game, and also taking a very honest evaluation of where you are now and why, of what hasn't worked and why, and where it is maybe that you can start to make adjustments so you can manifest more of what it is that you want, and also what it is that you deserve as well. In the process, there might have been, for some Capricorns out there, some evolution, some changes with at least one key friendship. This is a time when a conversation makes it very clear where you are in relation to this person, and that in turn will help you to understand where it is ultimately that you're going. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. This is a week that I have very much been looking forward to for you. Venus will be communicating with your ruling planet in harmony, in supreme harmony, which makes this such a good week for you on a lot of levels, on a level of friendship, on a level of fun, and of course on a level of love as well, on a level of shopping and just getting out there, interacting more. Even just your errands, as you go about your day doing your errands, should get a lot more fun as well for you. And this is also, you're also one of those signs, you and Sag are the signs out there that can find some really great shopping finds for you now. So if that is something that inspires you, if you're into that, this is a week to get out there and actually hit the stores. I've been advising you in the introductions. I've been saying a couple of weeks ago, I was saying, okay, when Mercury shadow ends, then you can shop, then you can shop. Well, Mercury shadow ended already. And so we now are in shopping season. And if you are one of those people who is not so into shopping, still, I would encourage you to think about what options and opportunities you may have. Even if it's just you have to do some shopping, get it done this week, especially as we move into the later part of the week. And I think you'll find the experience enjoyable. In fact, I do think you might even meet somebody if you're single and open to connecting with people. You might even, as you're, moving through racks and aisles, you might actually end up talking to somebody where there is that connection. There is a romantic connection that takes place for you. And overall, it does look like, even though we've got this other energy in the sky that's saying to you, work, focus on the larger goal, don't get caught up in the superficial, achieve something that matters to you, pay attention to your life purpose. You've got that, and you can continue to do that. You actually can do that and enjoy your life as well. So there's this really great it's a variety of energies this week, yes, but ultimately this is going to allow you to bring forward a variety of experiences, and especially to find a balance between enjoyment of life and being social, and getting out there and acquiring things that delight you and meeting people in the process, but also understanding that your life purpose is there for you and it is solid. It is guiding you. It is moving you in a very positive direction. This can also be a time when you get some very good news where it comes to your career, but keep in mind that this will be news that is well earned. So you can have your ambition, you can have your hope, and that's great. You can make a pitch if you want, especially it looks like as you're beginning the week, you're thinking about making some sort of a pitch for some of you out there that is career related. Ultimately, rewards are certainly indicated for you now, and rewards can come, and for many of you will come, but they will be rewards, especially in the career sphere. They're rewards that are well earned. Hello, fabulous Pisces. This week we have two key things that are indicating strong moves forward, indicating reality checks, and indicating a change in plan. I do see for you, of all the signs out there, all of us in some way are going to be experiencing a shift in energy. For you, it is going to be especially pronounced. And the reason is because we have got Chiron moving forward in your sign. Will stand still and move direct, what astrologers call stationary direct. This alone should bring a feeling of progress. You've already begun that with Neptune having recently stood still and now moving direct in your sign as well. So it is a part of you moving direct. Now, Chiron is, as I spoke about in the introduction, the wounded healer. And so if there has been any area of your life that needs healing, this is a time when you should feel that you are making progress, especially where it's felt like you need healing, but it hasn't been happening, especially at the pace you like. Now you do move forward. So in particular, if this is manifesting in a physical healing, this is a time when you should notice progress on that front. So you should just start to feel better, to feel more healed, especially on a physical level and on a level of your vitality. If you are one of those people where it's manifesting more emotionally, this is a time when really some powerful forgiveness can take place for you, some powerful moving forward so that you leave old resentments behind, and some very powerful understandings as well that the things that hurt you really don't matter anymore, or they've made you better, or now you can move away from that feeling of being hurt and move in a more empowered direction. You add to this the fact the sun is speaking to Neptune in your sign. And to me, this is about acknowledging disappointment. It is about reality check to a certain extent. There's reality check energy in the air, actually. With quotes, I say that energy because we have got Mercury meeting Saturn in the sky, and a part of the sky for you that has to do with your vision for your life. And so wherever it is that that has felt off or it hasn't felt matching your reality, this is a time for you to acknowledge that, to look at what didn't work. And from there, understand that how it is now, that what didn't work is actually okay that it didn't work, or where it is that you are going to take responsibility for your own energy and exert your will in more intelligent ways so that you can manifest what you truly desire. Well, thank you so much to all signs out there for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.